You see this bullying of a thing. We are the ones who empower it. We are the ones who empower the younger people to actually bully. We're the ones who teach them that this is how you bully. But sometimes you don't realize it because of the social background, the cultural background, tradition, religion, a lot of things. Because you see a lot of things in the system that you are in, whether church, your home, and just anywhere. You see that growing up, a lot of parents, even a lot of pastors, a lot of people, they do things to the people that they have power over, and they do it thinking that it is discipline, or with a cover that it is discipline, or they are trying to use correctional means. But in the actual sense of it, what they are doing is just simply wickedness. Sometimes it's also coming from a place of frustration. That's the truth. But this orientation is very hard to take away because people are already grown deep into it. You see, it's taking our generation tougher time to understand that, use corporate punishment on your children, do this, do that. Our parents and most people still don't even agree with that. They think that, oh, see, my parents used to pour water on me to wake up in the morning. My parents used to throw knife at me. My parents, if you dare come back late, you sleep outside. A lot of things. And sometimes even when you come back later, it's not like your parents want to even know where you're coming from or anything. So some of those things, were just something that they grew up with. So they just continue with that. And they don't realize, most parents did not have the orientation to sit down and say, oh, this measure that I'm using, is it working? Is it not working? Because you see, this bullying is happening everywhere. But we're talking about it now, spawning from Sylvester's death. But this is happening everywhere. I went to boarding school, and I don't think we should be hiding these things, because the more we hide them, the more we empower bullies. But you see, I'm also grateful at some point, because the boarding school that I went to, at different points that I was there, or even a lot of things have improved, and they're improving because I see the let me say owner of the school, because it was a missionary school, not missionary as a seminary, religious school, had a church school. So the owner of the church, or the general superintendent, would try to put things in place one time or another. I remember he would come, he would talk about the cooks and the kind of food that they're giving the children and all of that. And he was very concerned. But we had teachers in that school that were extremely wicked. Listen, if you're a teacher in that school and you were wicked and you are seeing this video, I want to tell you that you were wicked. And some of you impacted these things to some of us, especially some of us who were school functionaries or prefects at one point or the other, or the seniors. And then we thought, oh, this is how you're supposed to be to the junior ones. This is how you should be. But the truth is, thinking about it now, there are just so many things that were done that were not coming from a place of discipline. They were coming from a place of, I want to prove to you that I have power. I want to prove to you that I'm not your mate. Can you imagine that we had teachers, female teachers, that in the morning when they are trying to get girls to hasten up and go for prep, as in to go read, or just to get out for something, breakfast or anything, in a bid to hasten the girls who are in the bathroom to come out, there were teachers who would come in with cane and flog you on your bare body, on your naked body. So can you imagine the level of wickedness that was? That was bullying on that has no definition. That is wickedness. So these people watch you do those things, Then they get into the senior classes, and what do you expect them to do? So I think measures are supposed to be taken to call those things out. And I'm glad that at some point, these things were being called out. They stopped the use of cane in that school, although I didn't experience it. I wasn't lucky enough to experience no more flogging, children doing too much task, as a means to punish them and all that. All of those things were cut down. But there were extremely wicked people who should have been called out, who should have been sent to where they belong, because you don't need to be among human beings. They didn't need to live among human beings. I saw somebody on Facebook the other day who schooled in the same school talking about a certain teacher who is not dead, Miss So rest in peace, who she shared that experience. And then I remember the certain experience. The same man came one night when we were having our prep. I think people had finished writing their exams or something like that. And then he just called out a whole class. I think it was a class. And he told them to walk on their knees on the sand. They walked on their knees for more than 1 hour from a particular, it was a particular, I don't know how many meters it was or something, but it was just a long walk. So they all went on their knees walking. People were crying. Some of them could not get to where they were supposed to get. You have to go there and then walk back, still kneeling down. People's nails literally peeled off and was bleeding. And I was so hurt that night. I was wondering, like, truly, is this person supposed to go free because he's a teacher? I was wishing I had magical powers, like I could strangle him. I was so angry. So there are just so many things that needs to be cut down, that needs to be talked about. Because somebody is a teacher does not excuse them from being a monster and still remaining there. And I've seen and read and heard a lot of opinions concerning this. And one of the opinions that I really, really like is the fact that, we should not be too greedy to point these things out. Because of our greediness, we'll just let them go because of the school fees and all that. If you're doing your best to train children in a school, because it's not 100% job of the school to train a child. So if you're doing your best to do these things and these children still decide to be bullies or they are just being plain stupid, I mean, send them out of the school. And I don't mean for stupid things, because in my days there were so many stupid reasons where people were being expelled. So many stupid reasons. You could literally, because we were not allowed to bring in snacks into the school. I don't know, I cannot remember the stupid things, but there were just very petty reasons, and they came from a religious place. You could send letter to a girl, because we are not allowed to talk to girls, to boys, and boys are not allowed to talk to girls. The school was divided, but I think now others have changed. So you could literally sneak your way into making your crush receive a letter that you wrote, and you'll get expelled. But these things are inevitable, because we're going to come to the outside world, and you are bound to talk to the opposite sex. So that was not the way at all. But I'm glad that the people are opening their eyes and learning. The problem is where you refuse to learn. You are fixated on your own way. So you see, what I'm saying is, this bully of a thing, it has to be addressed without fear of any church, any personality, nobody. And then another important thing I want to really point out is orientation for teachers. Orientation for teachers is very, very important. Is of paramount importance. Just because your school is a religious school or a church school does not automatically make the teachers teaching there to then know how to discipline a child, or to understand how to follow a kid, or how to understand a kid, or how to take care of a kid. just because you gave birth to a child, you pushed out a child, does not automatically give you parenting skills. That's the truth. You have to learn some things. You have to unlearn some things. You have to relearn some things. So these teachers, they need orientation. These teachers need to be sat once in a while. They need to sit down, they need to be sat down, and an expert should be gotten to talk to them, to speak to them, address their issues. How do I treat a child who is like this? How do I treat a child who, I'm talking to, and then she stands up and walks out of the class? How do I treat a child who does this and this and how do I keep my frustrations away from teaching? How do I separate my personal problems from the problems that students are bringing? And it all comes back to mental health. It all comes back to psychology. It all comes back to the orientation that we'll have, because most of these teachers, I remember teaching in a school after I graduated secondary school and was waiting to write my aptitude test with UNN. I remember teaching in a secondary school. Yeah, it was primary and secondary school. I remember this woman, Auntie Kate. This woman, if you looked at her, I just think her name should have been Wickedness. I'm sorry, but her name should have been Wickedness because she looks that way. This woman would flog the kids for every single thing. At that time, I didn't know a lot about mental health, but my heart just couldn't carry it. I felt, and it was not just about my heart not being able to carry it because I had a soft mind. I just felt this is not the way. There was a dull girl in her class, primary 6, and this woman will flog her until she wanted to die. She will keep flogging you. And one time I had a teachers meeting and I complained about it, and she hated me until I left that school. She hated me. She hated anywhere my feet touched. She hated it. And such a person shouldn't be teaching. That is the truth. Such a person shouldn't be teaching, especially if you've given orientation several times. Such a person shouldn't be teaching, no matter how talented they are, no matter how professional they are with their teaching. If they don't have, now, they cannot do it. And, school authorities, when you place rules and place boundaries for students, you should also place it for teachers. If you do like this, if you bully a child like this is the consequence. You have to be sacked. You may have to be suspended. You have to answer a query, so that they should also be put in check. So this orientation is very important. And I'm not talking religious orientation. I'm not talking about Bible studies and Sunday school classes. I'm talking about specific orientation from experts who know these things, who understand these things, and know how it works practically. I'm not talking about a pastor orienting teachers on how to treat children. No, that is okay. But also, we should be practical so that we can see results that will help. So I'm really very pained from the death of this young boy. I don't think that he deserved it. I don't think that he did. And all I can say is, we should do better as adults, as parents, as teachers, as school authorities. Do better. And sometimes the way you treat your children at home also will determine if they will speak up when they go to school. If you're the type who always beat your children, when they go to school and teachers are beating them anyhow, they may not be able to talk to them. They'll think it's a normal thing. That's how my parents beat me too when I've done wrong. So I think that's the only means of discipline that is available. So you need to be able to pass on to your children that no, you are not an animal, and nobody should treat you like an animal. Well, that's it for now, and bye.